Hello, everyone. Hi. Welcome to Books and Brew. It's been a while. It has. Our situation here at the Arcane Focus train it hasn't really changed as much. We're still kind of growing. We're still,
we only have a few weeks left.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting close, you know?
Literally only a few weeks left.
Yeah, so I mean, Books and Brew is meant to sort of just talk candidly. Not to say that we don't do that anyways, but more so. So we're kind of looking at maybe an early August hiatus. More than likely, I mean, personally, I don't really have like a return date, which is scary.
For Books and Brew?
No, just Arcane Focus in general.
Oh.
If you want to break it up via via show, I'd be down to listen.
It's honestly it's not it'll be dependent on me, one, for healing, because I don't know if I can actually sit here, because girl stuff. Second of all,
a minimum of a month at least.
Second of all, I don't know what our baby's going to be like. If he's going to be calm, if he's going to be fussy, he's going to be getting used to not being in his temperature controlled environment and probably be a little pissed off about that. So there will be a learning curve for sure. A lot of people told me after like the 6 to 8 week mark, hopefully he'll kind of establish his own little routine and will be more familiar. So
wait, how long?
6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8 weeks. Okay.
So generally like 2 months, if not longer. But we'll again see, those are all estimates and book statistics. You can't really base a little person off of book statistics.
Yeah, I mean they're all
different.
All different.
Mike slept through everything, and I was a very scheduled baby, so
yeah,
that doesn't mean anything. Like, we could be totally different.
I mean, my mom told me that. Like, I mean, sort of talking candidly, my mom told me like I slept through everything, being changed, being fed, like not fed, but like a lot of
changed.
Stuff.
That one surprised me.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, I sleep a lot. I like sleep.
No, but I mean, like, you get up and do things. But she also said you didn't move a lot when she had you in her tummy. Like, you were just like, you would stretch, but you were very calm. And my mom said I was very active. And he's very active. So I don't know what that means.
I think minimum we're probably gonna be away for 2 months.
Yeah.
That's minimum. Not to say that that's gonna be the maximum.
Obviously, I'd like to be back by end of October because of Halloween, and we could probably do a Halloween one-shot. That would be
come
nice.
back? That'd be awesome. I'd love to write a one-shot, Halloween one-shot.
Yeah, and he could be a baby dragon. We have a baby dragon
we have a onesie already. Yeah.
And hopefully it won't be as hot, so he can actually wear said onesie and not just be in a diaper and his little booties.
Speaking off camera now that we're sort of done with the sort of pleasantries, today we are talking about some Critical Role books. We have both of the Tal'Dorei Reborn as well as the Call of the Netherdeep. Call of the Netherdeep is more along the lines of a adventure book that does come with some, it doesn't come with like a subclass or anything like that, but it does come with some monsters, magical items, and areas that you can visit. Tal'Dorei, the Reborn, is a full-on adventure source book, magic feats, the whole deal. I think it's like, how many pages do you think?
We went over all the classes, I think.
Yeah. There were some monsters in the Tal'Dorei Reborn that we haven't gone through yet.
Well, the Tal'Dorei is a pretty thick book. Like, you could show them the difference between
it is
Netherdeep and
about 280 pages.
Yeah, and how big is Netherdeep?
Netherdeep, about 200.
Yeah.
So, let's go through some Netherdeep. There's some monsters here that we haven't checked out that honestly I might or might not use in our current campaign.
They're awful. I've read them all. I've actually read those. Like, I don't remember them right off the top of my head, but when I got the book, I actually had read them, and I was like, "Ooh, these are bad."
The first one I want to go through is called Death Embrace. Drifting through the dark waters of the Netherdeep, the Death Embrace is an ominous sight. Behind its bell, Behind its bell hangs a lacy tendril mass of thrums with magic. Oh, that thrums with magic. Surrounded by 6 60-foot-long barbed tentacles, the Death Embrace uses these tentacles to grasp and petrify its prey. Despite its foreboding name, the Death Embrace is not overly aggressive, not an overly aggressive creature. It prefers to bide its time, using the creature is caught in its tentacles to shield and absorb attacks. So let's go and show what this creature looks like. So it's kind of like a clam.
He kind of, when I initially looked at it, I didn't really pay attention, but it looks like it has a nasty mouth.
Yeah. So it's got, from what I can describe beyond the image it shows, obviously it has the 6 purplish, pinkish tentacles with sort of these tendril-like barbs. It almost looks like a mussel, not like a arm mussel or anything, but an actual like clam, a shellfish.
It looks more like a clam than a mussel.
It looks like a clam that has its tongue
clam.
With numerous different like flesh. Like tendrils, and it spikes along the hardened part of it on the edges of the.
Sorry, it kind of looks like he's got what do you call them? The things with the spikes. An urchin. Like
an urchin. Sea urchin.
He looks like a clam, and he's got an urchin.
Yeah,
head.
I kind of want to say that it's a bit of an urchin, bit of a clam meets a jellyfish or jellyfish sort of fits it. On the edges of the actual opening of the clam size or body of it, which is calling it the bell, it does have like these serrated teeth. So right away, it's being described as sort of this jellyfish-like a creature. Definitely, this is something you're going to see underwater, probably deep in the ocean. Like
one would hope.
Yeah, I mean, because normal clams. And I've seen like videos of actual like clams and mussels, like how they swim, like they open up and their tongue just sort of makes them go along, but they're usually near the floor or they're latched onto like a pole or some sort of structure underneath the water. So these are probably something that you would find maybe grabbing onto an underground like sea cave or structure. And it's just hanging out there, and it's not going to aggressively attack you, but if you happen to go into the structure just past its tentacles, it's probably just grab you quick.
I like that.
It's pretty fun. So first of all, it's got an AC of 13. Makes sense. It's kind of like a beast. It's not really, it says here it's an aberration, but it doesn't look like it's wearing armor, obviously.
I feel like a lot of those things, though, don't have like a high AC, but they got a lot of hit points. And they got a lot of shit that they can hit you with.
It does have a 147 HP. But the funny thing is you guys are level 14 right now. And you guys are kind of powerhouses.
And we still can get our asses kicked.
It's got a 23 strength, 15 dexterity, 19 con, 6 intelligence, makes sense, 9 wisdom, and a 4 charisma. That also makes sense.
So it's dumb as fuck, but it's strong and hardy as a motherfucker.
I mean, it's a beast. It doesn't need to make equations. It's running off instincts.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense, but 23 strength, like fuck. Don't get it near a wizard.
Not only that, it's proficient with strength saving throws and wisdom saving throws, so it does have a plus 10 to strength saves and plus 3 to wisdom saves. It is immune to exhaustion, paralyzation, petrification, being prone. It does have blind sense up to 60 feet, and it is blind beyond that radius. So the moment you get past its 60 feet, it's going to be searching for you blind. It's got what's called petrifying tendrils. Any creature that starts a turn within the Death Embrace's space must make a DC 16 Constitution save. That brings up a good point. How big is this creature? It's huge. Oh, it's a huge. Okay, cool. So I think it's 3x3.
I didn't think it was a weenie.
True. It must make a DC 16 Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is restrained, and it must make its saving throw at the end of its turn following that. Let's see here. A creature restrained on its way in this way must repeat the saving throw at the end of its turn or become petrified on a failed save. The petrification lasts until the effect ends by a greater restoration spell or similar magic. So you are petrified. There ain't no, you can't take a long rest to get out of it. That condition is on you.
Pulled a Medusa.
By the way, this is not a attack. This is not an action. This is if you happen to be in its area, it's gonna just sort of start grabbing. Another ability it has that is not an action, just happens, is that if at the start of its turn, the Death Embrace, it can pull creatures that's in its grapple for up to 20 feet towards it, no action required. So if you happen to be within range, just starts pulling in. Speaking of range, we did talk about how big these tentacles are. Mm-hmm. It's got a 60-foot reach.
That's like the biggest reach I've ever seen. I mean, I know there's other creatures and monsters that have it, but like I've never had to interact with one.
It is
like even the mythological ones, like the mythic creatures, their reach isn't that big.
It's like 15 max, maybe.
Yeah, it's not 60 feet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we did describe these things by having 6 60-foot long tentacles. So this is a concept that I have not thought about, and that is a creature with an extraordinary long reach. That's generally not in my thought process.
Oh, good, and it is now.
But it is now. I mean, I've thought of creatures that are super fast, creatures that are super sturdy, things that can teleport, but just having this extraordinary long range is something that never really gets into my purview.
I feel like the only thing that compensates for that is that they're blind outside of that thing.
Yeah.
I mean, still, you're fucked. 60 feet's a pretty good fucking depth, but
it only has a 20-foot swimming speed as well.
Still.
So it has a +10 to attack with a 60-foot reach. Upon hitting, it does 2d6 plus 6 piercing damage plus 2d10 psychic damage. You then need to make a grapple check. If you it says here. Oh, right away. If the creature is large or smaller, it is instantly grappled. You then have to spend an action to do a DC 16 break from the grapple check. Yeah, that's
He's huge.
It also has 6 tentacles, each of which can grapple 1 tentacle. Yeah, and it is huge. So it's bigger than 2x2.
You'd have to be huge yourself. Like, you'd have to be fucking another Titan to go toe-to-toe with it.
Yeah.
So, like, it can't fully get you.
The only thing that I can think of that would negate that is my fighter, who can become large, and if uses enlarge, becomes huge.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe Kara, just because she could be a big thing.
So the funny thing about that is that an elemental is considered large.
Yeah.
It is not considered huge, and this thing can grapple a large creature.
She can also polymorph, though.
I guess that's true. There are
polymorph into a huge creature.
I think there's you could turn into a whale that is considered huge. Mm-hmm. So it wouldn't be able to grapple you, or at least pull you in. At least, I couldn't do that. It can hit you.
I mean, if you have a wizard, they could enlarge and reduce. So,
True.
like, you could be an elemental, they make you bigger.
Also, it has a reaction, which is interesting. It has Body Shield. When the Death Embrace is hit by an attack, one creature that the Death Embrace is grappling, chosen by the Death Embrace, takes the damage instead. So, it's not very smart, but it knows how to preserve itself very well.
It's tactical. It's not smart, but tactical.
Yeah, it knows threats. It knows that it has these things that it could whack away and it'll shield itself. So this is a very smart creature in terms of preserving its oneself. So that is the Death Embrace.
I like to think you don't run into it all the time, but whatever.
No, imagine running into a herd of these things.
Fuck that, I'm out.
Oh no. Ooh, okay, this one looks fun. It looks like we're gonna do some water ones today.
I think most of them are water ones.
Yeah, I think that's what the Netherdeep was. Oh, you know what I have to talk to you about? So, there is a new book coming out.
Oh, the one you told me not to buy.
Don't buy it yet. Hold on, I'm gonna look at it.
Mike always tells me not to buy it and it just arrives.
I gotta look at the actual Oh, man, why is it here? It is.
I know I've seen it, but I didn't pay attention this time.
So okay, there it is. So there is a new book called Spelljammer, or Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel. I forgot which is which. And what it has to deal with is outer space, and it covers the idea of what is outer space to your world in comparison to the astral sea. Because when you think of one, it's kind of hard not to think of the other.
I guess. I mean, I could not think of it.
Well, the way that it like, I mean, for me, I never really thought of, well, like, what are other planets? Is that also part of the astral? Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
I think there's a bare. I mean, if it was me doing something, I feel like there's probably like a bare basic map, but not like a whole ton of detail, unless like the players wanted to do that, and then I'd have to work out all the fucking details. But like, I feel like there's probably common knowledge somewhere in like a school, like a regular school, that like does history and all this crap, and is like, yeah, there's a map of other places. Like, we don't know a whole lot, but there's a map.
So the way they're building it, at least in this book, the way they described it, is the obviously material plane, Feywild, Shadowfell, the elemental planes. Those are planes. Those are outside of the material world.
Yeah.
The material plane, I should say. The material plane. The material plane is where your little planet lives. You can have as many moons and suns as you want, obviously. But there is outer space, which D&D is now calling wild space. Not calling outer space, called wild space. Wild space is outer space. Let's be very honest. You can travel to wild space via ships that are outer space worthy. There are like these magical arcane ships that can pierce your atmosphere of your world and start to travel to. There are other planets. There is a solar system. There is a universe in your material plane. Now, the way the D&D has set it up now is that if you continue on to your universe and you keep on going straight, and you keep on going, and you keep on going, you keep on going, sooner or later you're going to see the wall of the universe. Your universe is in an orb that does have, that is not endless. It does end, and this wall is a shimmering silver glint of color, like just like bare, like one color. And if you pass through it, you enter the astral sea. And the way they're describing it is outer space is outer space.
Yeah.
And it's got planets, it's got solar systems, it's got asteroids, it's got meteorites and all this stuff. And it's got, of course, it's arcane. So you have like these astral ships, or no, these arcane ships, and these spaceships that are powered by magic and stuff like that. The astral sea is sort of a plane of thought.
Yeah.
And I think we saw in Critical Role where it's like the higher your intelligence, the faster you go. And that's where like dreadnoughts live. And that's where, because the way they describe it is when you're in outer space, there's a vacuum. You can't breathe.
Well, it makes sense unless like you have some weird ability, but even then I don't even know how you would word it.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you have like, because it's a potion, it's not a potion of breathing, it's a potion of water breathing.
I think the only way you can probably do is that if you were in these arcane ships that could shield you from the vacuum.
Either that or you make your own tank on your head and then drink the potion.
Maybe. Oh, that's a good idea.
You break it.
That's a really good idea. But once you go into the astral sea, you don't need that. It is not outer space. It is a plane of thought where you can breathe. You actually don't get hungry in the astral sea because it is such a wild. It's obviously, it's a plane of thought. So you can always just think of yourself being hungry or full, and it'll fill you up.
Must be nice.
Let's go through maybe 2 more monsters because that was a little diatribe. First,
I think we're only gonna do one more.
One more? All right, we'll do one more. This one is the Light Devourer. Look at that lovely one.
He looks like a worm in a one of them fish.
It kind of looks like what are those fish? The lure. No, it's called the anglerfish.
Yeah, well, it looks like a worm and an angler.
The light devourer gets its name from the ability to absorb bright light, whether natural or magical, in its immediate environment. After doing so, the creature begins to glow. The spikes lining its back and the numerous teeth, needle-like teeth on its maw begin to burn. Wait, I'm reading this wrong. Sorry, let me try again. The needle-like teeth in its maw burning brightly as it converts its stolen light into searing energy, which rips into its prey.
Oh, so you're saying like the teeth are burning brightly?
Yes.
That's what that is.
When it's not illuminated, the light devourer lurks in the darkness, stalking the ocean for the depths for its next meal. So essentially what it does, it looks for light, steals the light, and uses it against you.
Always a pleasure.
It has an AC of 14. It's got 120 HP. Sorry, 119. I just rounded up. It's got a swim speed of 30 feet, and it is a medium creature, so it's about the same size. It could be a 5-foot creature. It's got an 18 strength, an 18 dex, and an 18 con. That's a pretty...
Another hardy boy.
That's a pretty hunky boy, you know what I mean? It's only got a 2 intelligence. So it's probably only it's not thinking of anything else except for its next meal.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably thinking I bite first, I don't think first.
Yeah, it feels like you could really trick this creature, because it's only thinking about it's probably only thinking of 2 things. 1, I don't want to die. 2, I want to eat.
I always wondered how anglers fish like reproduce, because
it's disgusting.
Well, I don't need to know the whole process, but aren't they like? Aren't like the females like the less attractive ones, and then like they use their little...
It's disgusting.
I don't want to know. I don't even...
All right, let's get into it.
I don't want to know why you know.
Because I was watching something. So the anglerfish, the giant mod with the actual light, those are females.
Oh, this makes sense.
Those are only females.
This is a Black Widow situation.
The males are these little tiny guys. Like,
oh, don't they latch onto them?
So they latch onto like the underbelly of the anglerfish, and slowly over time their body gets absorbed and dissolves and becomes one with the female, who then absorbs the sperm and like it's almost like, all right, grab that, you're no longer existing, I absorbed you, you're dead, and now I have your sperm and I'm gonna lay my eggs or do my brood or whatever you want to call it.
I feel like I have learned about that.
We did. I know we did. And it's disgusting. It's wild to think about, too.
It's so... Like, I don't mean to be that lady, and I say that lady, but it's just like, it's very much of... Fuck you, I don't need you. You're only good for one thing.
Yeah.
Because it's not even like they mate or they anything. It's just like, nope, here, sticker. You're dead now. We're good. You served your purpose.
It does have a +3 to perception and a +10 to stealth.
Oh, it's stealthy then.
So yeah, it'll hide pretty well.
The opposite of everything con heavy normally.
Oh, I forgot to mention, beyond its 2 intelligence, it has a 10 wisdom and a 3 charisma. Charisma, obviously. Wisdom surprised me.
Yeah. Intelligence didn't surprise me, but...
It is immune to radiant damage. Makes sense. It steals radiant light. And it has 120 feet dark vision.
It steals radiant light or any light?
It says it steals any light, but it's immune to radiant. I think there's a funny discussion about fire, magical fire underwater.
Because wouldn't it not go out if it was magical?
Yeah, it's this theory that if you were to cast fireball underwater, it would be like a detonation and there'd still be fire damage. And people have said, well, maybe it's because it's arcane fire, it still burns you. Other people have said, well, maybe not necessarily that, maybe just the fireball explodes, superheats the water, and you still get fire damage. Yeah, you sort of boil yourself, which in reality is even worse. It has an ability called light absorption, as we talked about before. If the light devourer spends any part of its turn in an area of bright light, it is subjugated to radiant damage. It irradiates dim light for the next hour. Wait. Oh, sorry, my mistake. It says here that if it spends any part of its turn in a bright area of light, or is subjugated to radiant damage, it then radiates a dim light for an hour. So it doesn't really like absorb.
It's like a flashlight.
Yeah. It's like when you get those
solar lamp.
Exactly. You know when you get those really like glow in the dark stars and you put them next to this, like you just hold them up to the sun and then you bring them back in. It's kind of like that.
He's a solar lamp. A deadly, mean solar lamp.
It's got a multi-attack. It can bite twice. It has a +7 to hit. And upon hitting, it has a 5d6 plus 4 damage, piercing damage, or radiant damage if it has absorbed radiant damage. It also has a bonus action called Radiant Discharge. If the Light Devourer is radiating light, essentially if it's near light, or if it's got radiant damage on it, it releases the light stored in its body in a 20-foot radius sphere around itself, and then ceases to radiate light. Each creature in the sphere must make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw, or take 7d6 damage. Half as much if you succeed.
Only.
That's pretty good. Also, that's pretty scary.
He's like trying to touch the desk.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, sometimes when I sit here, you just hear... Because he's like, what is this?
But yeah, so there's, it's interesting. These underwater creatures, I can't wait to use them in the future. The crazy thing about
May I not be in a campaign when you use them?
The crazy thing is, I think I would probably use these guys for
honestly,
wild space.
They fit Nomad a little bit. They fit Iris's water plane very much so.
Yeah.
Not that you need to do that, but I'm just hate to say it, but it does. This one, not so much. I mean, we've been in the water against our wishes, or that's been the only way to get somewhere.
You haven't been underwater.
No.
You've been on the sea.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we did, you know, fight a Leviathan and creepy fucking walkers that we were just not gonna touch, that were like titans in the ocean. So yes, we've come across some shit we don't like, and I don't think we necessarily view sea travel as great. Convenient maybe, but definitely not great or safe.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think that's where we're going to end it today. I know we covered a few creatures and we talked about wild space. It's an interesting concept, and we talked about the the mating patterns of an anglerfish.
That I forgot about, probably for a good reason.
Oh man. All right, well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll check you guys tomorrow.
Yep.
Tomorrow. Latest.
Bye.